What if you could fix all of your old injuries, fix your pain, get back to performing at 100% without stopping your workouts, without stopping going to the gym, and whilst continuing to get stronger and more flexible? That is what the UMS does. And I've now been asked by so many of our members who have had life-changing transformations, people who have had injuries that years of physical therapy, working with doctors, even getting surgery didn't fix for them. And within a matter of a week of doing the UMS, they feel a significant reduction in pain. And only 3 or 4 months later, they're pain-free and working towards being stronger and more flexible than they've ever been. And I'm getting asked a lot, how do I explain this to my friends? I'm telling all my friends about it and I don't really know how to explain it. So this video is intended to really explain the entire process of the UMS, of our unified movement system, which is the UMS, the online coaching that we do. So this is going to be a very detailed, in-depth discussion about the UMS. And my brother Yanni and I have actually spent the last several months rewriting our Learn More page for our website to explain this better. So I'm going to be reading verbatim what is going on our website rebuild that's happening right now. Should be live in the next few weeks. And I'll break out a couple of times and just, candidly talk about some of the concepts that I'm talking about here. So I have to start this whole discussion with my story because this is really how the UMS began. So here we go. My story, from chronic pain to unstoppable strength. At 34, I walked away from a 4-year stint as an infantry soldier in the Australian Army. My body battered from a deployment in East Timor where I fractured my spine. The pain was relentless, chronic, gnawing, and unforgiving. I relied on painkillers just to stumble through the day, a shadow of the man I'd used to be. Doctors hinted that my best years were behind me, but I refused to accept that. I was determined to reclaim my strength and chase the physical goals I'd always dreamed of, without being crippled by my injury. So I threw myself into recovery. For 2 years, I worked tirelessly with physiotherapists and chiropractors, piecing together how to rebuild a body strong enough to silence the pain in my spine. By 36, I was pain-free and hungry to push further. But what now? In my 20s, before the army, I'd been obsessed with martial arts, Kung Fu specifically, driven by the pursuit of skill, movement, and acrobatic mastery. But that fractured spine changed everything. I couldn't kick, flip, or fight like I once did. The impact was too much on my body. Yet I wasn't drawn to traditional gym workouts either. It felt soulless to me, disconnected from the fluidity that I craved. And then I discovered calisthenics. It was the perfect blend, strength training to make my body robust and injury resilient, paired with the pursuit of physical mastery. Handstands, muscle-ups, and they all echoed the agility that I'd lost. And this was my way back to who I wanted to be. But my body was not ready. Weakness haunted me, and over the next 4 years, I suffered a series of life-changing injuries. Sprained wrists, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, a torn meniscus, and slap tears in both shoulders. Every step forward came with a new setback. It was clear my body lacked the strength and flexibility to handle what I demanded of it. I wouldn't give up though. I sought out world-class coaches, experts in flexibility, calisthenics, strength, and structural balance training. I soaked up their knowledge like a sponge, training twice a day, 90 to 120 minutes per session. I was obsessed, spending every spare moment pursuing a solution. When I say I've tried everything, I mean it. But the time I was investing in my workouts was unsustainable. And when I asked my coaches how to combine flexibility and strength into one efficient workout, they all shrugged. Not my expertise, they'd say. So I was on my own. I tried everything, separate strength and flexibility sessions that dragged on for hours, one long workout, strength first, then flexibility, then structural balance, leaving me drained. And fitting in physical therapy exercises on top of it all, it was just impossible. For years, I pushed this chaotic approach, but the results were brutal. More injuries, exhaustion, and frustration. I'd spend half my day training only to limp away with a new ache. The experts I trusted couldn't give me the answers I needed, and I hit a wall. That's when I took matters into my own hands. If no one else could solve this, I would. So I teamed up with my brother Yanni and tapped into the minds of industry-leading experts. We reinvented structural balance to shore up my strength training, fixing the imbalances that kept breaking me. And then came the breakthrough. Instead of resting between strength sets, I decided to start training flexibility on opposing limbs. So picture this, I'm doing bench press and bent over row for upper body strength, and in between sets, I'm stretching my hamstrings and hip flexors. No downtime, just progress. Suddenly, my workouts were cut in half, from 2 hours to 1, and I didn't need to work out twice a day anymore. The results were life-changing, and Yanni saw it too and jumped on board. For 5 years, we refined this system, testing it relentlessly until it became the Unified Movement System, aka UMS. My body transformed. The stress of endless training vanished. My injuries, every single one, healed without surgery. By my mid-40s, I'm actually 47 in 2 weeks now, I was stronger, more flexible, and in better shape than I'd been at 27, back in my so-called prime. Handstands, muscle-ups, nailed them, pain-free. And I knew this wasn't just for me. Anyone over 30 who'd felt the sting of injuries, time constraints, or stalled progress could thrive with the UMS. We rolled it out at Unity Gym, where the group classes forced us to keep workouts under 60 minutes. And the result floored us. Members with herniated discs, degenerative spines, wrecked shoulders, knee reconstructions, and nagging pain. People just like me with big goals watched their pain fade and their strength soar. They got in the best shape of their lives. Now online, UMS has reached thousands worldwide, delivering the same transformation. It's not a theory or quick fix, it's the system we built from years of struggle, trial, and triumph. At 47, it's the reason I'm stronger, fitter, and more capable than I ever was in my 20s, and it's why I'm sharing it with you. So let's talk about what's going to be covered in this video. At Unity Gym, we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all training. Every UMS program is customized to fit your goals, lifestyle, and training environment. This video will explain how we create a tailored, adaptable program that ensures consistent progress no matter what life throws your way. So here's what you'll learn. Here's an overview. Step 1 is personalized onboarding. So new client onboarding, a structured introduction to the UMS, ensuring that you start with clarity and confidence. Step 2 is a pre-exercise questionnaire. Step 3 is the peak potential planner, a roadmap to aligning your training with long-term success. Step 4, sorry, not step 4, this is all step 1, what am I saying? All included in step 1. Mindset coaching, how to overcome the all or nothing mentality and use the goal versus minimum workout strategy to stay consistent. And the Nutrition Academy, your step-by-step guide to mastering calories, protein, and meal planning for real results. Now we're on to step 2, sorry. Step 2 is the general preparation phase, which is 12 weeks of training. So it's about laying the foundation, 3 times 4 week training phases designed to balance the body and set you up for long-term progress. Structural balance, correcting muscle imbalances to prevent injuries and improve movement efficiency. The UMS workout format, a structured system integrating flexibility, strength, and movement efficiency. Technique optimization, ensuring perfect form to maximize results and reduce risk of injury. Load management and progressive overload. Smart programming that prevents plateaus while ensuring continuous gains. Program periodization, structured progression to keep your body adapting and improving. And then finally, I'll move on to step 3, which is the progression phase for 36 weeks. Building strength, flexibility, fitness, and muscle mass with 9 progressive 4-week phases designed for sustainable results. Undulating periodization method, a science-backed approach that ensures continued progress without overtraining. An introduction to advanced overload methods like 5x5 max strength method, supersets method, wave loading method, rest pause method, 1-5 method, accumulation drop sets method, strength drop sets method, ascending trisets method, and contrast sets method. All right, let's dive deep into it. So step 1, personalized onboarding. Every new member starts with a pre-exercise questionnaire so that we lay the foundation for your success. So when you start your online coaching journey, the first step is to complete a pre-exercise questionnaire. This short but essential step gives us everything we need to build a program that fits your body, schedule, and training environment. You'll answer questions about your goals, whether you want to build strength, improve flexibility, recover from injuries, or increase overall fitness. We tailor your program accordingly. Injury history and limitations. If you have past injuries, mobility restrictions, or conditions that require modification, we ensure your program works around them while helping you build resilience. Your weekly schedule. How many days per week you can realistically train. Do you travel often for work? We create a program that fits your life, not the other way around. And just a side note, we modify that as many times as is needed. You don't just set your weekly schedule and that's it. I work with people all the time to adjust to the vicissitudes of life. And lastly, your training environment. Whether you train at home, in a garage gym, or a fully equipped commercial gym, we customize every workout to the equipment you have available. Adaptable programming. Life happens, we adjust. The reality of training is that your schedule and needs will change. Maybe a new job requires more travel, an injury needs extra attention, or you gain access to better training equipment. With UMS, your program evolves with you. There's no limit to how many times we modify your plan. You'll never be stuck with a program that no longer fits your life, because we're here to ensure your training remains effective, enjoyable, and sustainable. And here's a quick little snippet from a testimonial from Jocelyn. She says, I couldn't be happier with Unity Gym. I would definitely recommend it. It's not just an app where you go and select a program from the programs other apps have. They ask you what your goals are, what you are training for, and make a program according to that. All right, next is mindset coaching, eliminating the all or nothing mentality. One of the biggest obstacles to long-term success isn't a lack of motivation. It's the all or nothing mentality. You've likely experienced it. You've planned to hit the gym for a full workout, but then your day took an unexpected turn. Maybe your spouse is sick, a work project runs late, or parenting duties demand your attention. You realize you can't fit in the full session, so you skip training altogether. This is where most people go wrong. Instead of adjusting their plan, they do nothing at all, reinforcing a cycle of inconsistency. Our solution? The goal workout versus the minimum workout. At Unity Gym, we teach a simple but powerful mindset shift. The goal workout. This is your full training session. Maybe it's a 60-minute gym workout with your planned exercises. The minimum workout. This is your fallback plan for busy days. Maybe it's just 20 minutes, including a warm-up and 2 to 3 key strength movements. And a side note, the minimum workout is different for everybody, but we teach people to understand how to have a planned minimum workout that they get done on those busy days. And by planning for both, you always get something done, even on the most chaotic days. Why this works? Small wins lead to big results. The most important part of training is consistency, not perfection. Some exercise is always better than none because it reinforces the habit of working out. Even a short session maintains momentum so you don't fall off track, keeps the habit alive so training becomes automatic, and accumulates progress over time, leading to real transformation. When you learn to shift your mindset from all or nothing to always something, you create the foundation for lifelong success. Here's another little excerpt from a testimonial from Randeep Walia. They know how easy it is to feel overwhelmed and confused. They make an effort to come up with creative strategies for not giving up. You will not find a more professional and educated team that is truly in your corner. These are all Google reviews, by the way, so you can go and read them yourself. All right, next we're on to the Nutrition Academy. Eat with purpose and train with power. As youth athletes with a passion for sports, my brother Yanni and I grew up experimenting with just about every diet under the sun, from vegetarianism in our childhood to carnivore diets in our 20s and everything in between. We've been on a lifelong quest to optimize health and performance. Over the years, we've also had the privilege of learning from some of the world's top strength coaches, nutrition scientists, and dietitians. Today, Yanni follows a time-restricted eating protocol with intermittent fasting. I've used fasting too, especially for managing calorie intake when needed. With the exception of a strict vegan diet, we've explored nearly every approach out there. And what we've discovered is this: diets are deeply personal. They're shaped by culture, upbringing, beliefs, lifestyle, and environment. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all diet. That said, there are two non-negotiable principles we believe every effective diet must follow. Number one, calories matter. Your diet will always reflect your results will always reflect your caloric intake relative to your goals and activity level. Number two, protein is critical, especially if you're training hard. Your body needs the right amount of protein to recover, build, and perform. These two rules apply no matter what dietary philosophy you follow. At Unity Gym, we work with highly active people who train multiple times a day. That's why we advocate for a modified Mediterranean diet, a flexible, high-protein approach that supports recovery, strength gains, and body composition goals. Inside the UMS Nutrition Academy, Yanni shares our personal journey through the world of nutrition. You'll learn what worked, what didn't, and what's just plain nonsense when it comes to popular diet trends. You'll also discover a simple but powerful method for calculating your ideal protein intake, one we've used with hundreds of clients. Plus, we include done-for-you meal plan templates for caloric targets from 1,200 calories a day to 2,400 plus. to suit fat loss, muscle gain, or lean body recomposition. Whatever your goals, the Nutrition Academy gives you practical tools and proven strategies to succeed. All right, now we're on to step 2, the general preparation phase. And this is where it gets juicy, because this is the game-changing part of the UMS. So for those of you that have injuries, for those of you that are over 30, that are just frustrated that you're not achieving your strength and flexibility goals, and your body just can't perform the way that it used to, this is for you. Listen up. Before you can build real strength and flexibility, you need to master the basics. The general preparation phase focuses on perfecting technique in the fundamental lifts, like squats, deadlifts, bench press, and rows. Without proper form, you'll either hit a plateau or worse, injure yourself when the weights get heavy. This phase also addresses structural imbalances caused by past injuries, incorrect lifting technique, or one-sided training. By restoring symmetry and joint stability, we eliminate the weak links that hold you back and prepare your body for the demands of the progression phase. And while beginners benefit greatly from this phase, experienced lifters need it just as much, if not more. The longer you've been training, the more likely it is that your body has developed deep, hardwired imbalances and flawed movement patterns. That's why even advanced athletes are shocked by how effective this phase is. Structural balance training alone is often enough to skyrocket your performance, eliminate chronic pain, and unlock a level of strength and control you've never felt before. Structural balance training is the foundation of a resilient, high-performing body. Unlike traditional strength training, which often focuses on isolated muscle groups, structural balance ensures the body develops strength, flexibility, and stability in harmony. It prioritizes symmetry between muscle groups and across joints, reducing injury risk, optimizing movement efficiency, and building true athletic longevity. If you're the kind of person who pushes your body to the limit, getting structural balance right isn't optional, it's essential. Ignore it, and pain and injuries will eventually force you to stop training the way you want. Even elite athletes have suffered the consequences. Legendary bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman developed severe joint issues because they pushed through imbalances for too long. Here's the 5 pillars of structural balance training. Actually, I should say first, here's the 4 pillars of structural balance training, because I'm going to tell you what the 5th element is in a minute. Number 1 is left to right symmetry. A structurally balanced body has equal strength and flexibility between the left and right sides. When one side is stronger or more mobile than the other, the body compensates, leading to inefficient movement patterns, decreased performance, and injury. Example, a right-handed tennis player may develop excessive strength in their dominant arm, leading to chronic overuse injuries. And the corrective approach is unilateral exercises like Bulgarian split squats, single arm rows, and single leg deadlifts, which directly address left to right discrepancies. Number 2 is balance between antagonistic muscle groups. Muscles work in pairs. One contracts while the other relaxes. Structural balance ensures these opposing muscle groups stay evenly strong and flexible. Common imbalances are in the elbow joint, so biceps and triceps. Both of those muscles work antagonistically to extend and flex the elbow. If there's an imbalance between the two of them, then you are at risk of injury in the elbow. The knee joint, there's quadriceps and hamstrings, and in the shoulder joint, we've got internal rotators like the pecs and the lats, and the external rotators like rotator cuff. So another way to think about this is pushing and pulling muscles. So the muscles that create pushing movement and the muscles that create pulling movement. If the quadriceps overpower the hamstrings, for example, then the ACL injury risk skyrockets, the anterior cruciate ligament. So the corrective approach is push-pull training, paired movements like bench press with pull-ups or rows, maintaining balance across joints. And we also target hamstring to quadrep strength ratios, essentially for knee stability, but it's structural balance through the entire body with opposing muscle groups. All right, number 3, we have upper and lower body strength balance. Many people overdevelop either upper or lower body. These create inefficiencies, poor movement patterns, and injuries. Example, a runner with powerful legs but weak upper body strength, a lifter with massive upper body strength but neglected legs. The corrective approach is balanced training splits, like pairing bent arm strength for pull-ups and presses with another workout for squats and deadlifts. And an approach like that ensures full body resilience. All right, number 4, and this is the final part of traditional structural balance training, where Yanni and I, everywhere that we've seen it taught. which is balance between stabilizers and prime movers, and this is a big one. Every major joint has stabilizers, small muscles that control movement, and prime movers are big muscles that generate force. When stabilizers are weak, prime movers overcompensate, causing joint dysfunction and pain. So examples are in the shoulder, the rotator cuff and scapula stabilizers, which is the inner unit, the stabilizers, versus the prime movers, the pecs, the deltoids, the lats, biceps and triceps. In the hip, we've got piriformis and other deep hip stabilizers versus the glutes, hamstrings, and hip flexors. And in the core, we've got the transverse abdominis and obliques versus the rectus abdominis, your abs on the outside. One major issue caused by imbalances is joint glide, where, for example, the humerus, so this bone up here, glides improperly inside the shoulder socket, leading to pain and dysfunction. So the humerus sits in the glenohumeral joint. The rotator cuff's job is to hold that joint in place. So it's a ball and socket joint. It's designed to move like this, to rotate around. But when you have these imbalances, you start to get what's called joint glide, where the joint moves like this. And that is agonizingly painful. A lot of people experience something called shoulder impingement, where they try and lift their arm up and they get to here and they get sharp pain. And that's caused from joint glide and inefficient scapular stabilizers. So incorrect scapular stability and joint glide in the humerus. So the corrective approach is that we train stabilizers directly with exercises like external rotations, inverted kettlebell presses, Pallof presses, and glute medius activation drills. So those are the 4 components of structural balance training from every world-class coach that we've ever learned from, including the late, great Charles Poliquin. But Yanni and I have added the 5th element, which is the balance between strength and flexibility, which we've never seen included in structural balance teachings before. So strength without flexibility leads to stiffness, and flexibility without strength leads to instability. True structural balance means you develop both at every joint. Common imbalances would be a powerlifter who squats 200 or 300 kilograms but can't touch their toes. If you're over in America, I'm talking 440 pounds to 680 pounds or something like that. A yogi who can bend like a pretzel but can't perform a strict pull-up. And we've seen both of these examples many, many, many times. And the corrective approach is that we maintain a 1-to-1 ratio of strength to flexibility training in the same workout. So loaded stretching and end range isometrics make your flexibility strong and resilient, not weak and floppy. So one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen people make, and I did it in my story, I explained it earlier on, is separating strength and flexibility into separate workouts. I've never seen anybody do that without favoring one of those attributes. You always default to favoring the thing that matters to you most, and the imbalance grows. So the only way that we've found to develop a true balance between strength and flexibility is to include it in the same workout. All right, understanding the need for structural balance. Structural balance is essential for 2 reasons: to increase athletic performance and to prevent and overcome injury. Both outcomes are deeply connected. Without balance, performance is capped and injury risk rises sharply. And here's a lesson from the world's strongest athletes. When I interviewed my friend Sebastian Oreb, the globally renowned Australian strength coach, who is the coach of Hafthor Bjornsson, the strongest man in the world, the guy that played the Mountain in Game of Thrones, he shared something crucial. Improving a lift isn't just about pressing harder, it's about balancing the push with enough pulling work. Sebastian would program extra rows, pull-ups, and posterior chain work to improve bench pressing strength. Counterintuitive, but critical. The late Charles Poliquin, one of strength coaching's true pioneers, championed the same principle. Strength without balance almost guarantees injury. And you can go and have a look on my YouTube channel at Sebastian's interview that we did. So in short, building strength without balance is like building a skyscraper on sand. True peak performance requires muscular strength and muscular symmetry. Injury prevention isn't a separate goal, it's the natural result of training your body correctly. Structural balance isn't optional for serious athletes. It's the hidden key to unlocking your full potential and keeping it for life. And I would go as far as saying that if you're over 40 and you're not training for structural balance, then your body is, even though you're training and you're really putting work into your physique, that your body is slowly breaking down over time because these imbalances are creeping up on you and they are going to rear their ugly head at some stage. These are some real members who thought this sounds too good to be true until it changed their lives. If you're feeling skeptical right now, good, you should be. Emma and Genevieve were skeptical too until structural balance training with the UMS transformed their results. Within just a few months, their bodies and their confidence changed forever. Let me introduce you to them. Emma's story, breaking through a strength plateau CrossFit couldn't fix. Emma had been training CrossFit for over 10 years. She was strong, fit, and competitive. She could perform 16 strict pull-ups, but she couldn't do a single chest-to-bar pull-up. Despite hiring personal trainers and working hard, she stayed stuck below a frustrating ceiling. CrossFit's work harder mentality wasn't the solution. She needed structural balance. And after just 3 months of UMS online coaching, doing the general preparation phase, Emma could do 6 strict chest-to-bar pull-ups, a goal that had eluded her for years. And Genevieve's story of unlocking strength skills after years of frustration. So Genevieve spent just over a year bouncing between online programs, trying to master calisthenics moves like pistol squats and pull-ups. And she was trying to blend, different programs together to create, workouts for herself. But despite her dedication, she felt stuck, like her body was always working against her. When she found our YouTube channel, she was skeptical. It sounded too good to be true in her own words, but she decided to trust the process. And at first when she joined, she thought that the UMS was too easy for her level. But I explained that building true structural balance first was critical and that through periodization, her program would progressively challenge her. By following her carefully tailored program, Genevieve unlocked pistol squats, pull-ups, and full push-ups for the first time in her life in a matter of months. And you can see their video testimonials on our YouTube channel. They're all there. Emma and Genevieve's transformations aren't rare. They're just 2 hand-picked examples from thousands of UMS success stories around the world. When you fix the foundation, real transformation becomes the rule, not the exception. And if you want to see hundreds more stories like this, just read through our Google reviews. Why structural balance matters more than you think. If you build a house on a crooked foundation, it doesn't matter how fancy the roof is, the whole house will crack and crumble over time. The same thing happens to your body if your muscles aren't balanced. Structural balance means making sure all your muscles are the right strength and the right length to properly support your joints and bones. When some muscles are too tight and others are too weak, it pulls your body out of alignment, like a car with a bent axle. You can still drive it for a while, but eventually something wears out, snaps, or breaks. This is called a length tension imbalance. Think of it like a tug of war. If one side pulls harder than the other, the whole rope, your joint, gets yanked out of place. Over time, these small imbalances cause pain, stiffness, and that creeping feeling that your body is wearing out, even if you're exercising regularly. Ignoring structural balance leads to a body that feels fragile, stiff, and vulnerable. It's like building muscle on top of a shaky frame. But when you fix these imbalances, everything changes. You boost athletic performance, you build durability and resilience, you move better, feel younger, and stay pain-free, no matter your age or how hard you train. Most people believe that injuries are just part of the game when working out or playing sports. They're not. Most injuries come from small problems left unresolved for too long. Problems that structural balance training can fix if you catch them before they're turning into something worse. Here's why you've been stuck and why it's not your fault. If you've been injured, plateaued, or stuck, it's not because you're lazy, weak, or broken. You've simply been given the wrong advice. Here's what usually happens. You get hurt, you go to the doctor, and they tell you rest, get a scan, and come back if it doesn't get better. Maybe they send you for an MRI or X-ray. Maybe they tell you just to wait it out. Here's the truth. Rest doesn't fix injuries. Rest reduces inflammation temporarily. It makes the pain feel better for a little while, but it does nothing to fix the underlying imbalance that caused the injury in the first place. Meanwhile, as you rest, your muscles weaken, your joints become less stable, your resilience fades, and the original issue gets even worse. Then when you return to training, the pain comes right back, and you're stuck in the injury cycle all over again. Why scans often make things worse, not better? Doctors aren't injury rehabilitation specialists. They're not trained to assess movement quality, strength imbalances, or flexibility deficits. So what do? They refer you for a scan, but scans don't tell the full story. In fact, most scans find problems that aren't actually causing pain at all because structural changes happen naturally with age. Here's some examples. Disc bulges. 40% of people over 30 have them, even with no pain. Labral tears in the shoulder. 55% of people aged 40 to 60 have them, symptom-free. Meniscus tears. 1 in 3 people by age 50, most without symptoms. And I've got links to all of the studies for those statistics, but I'm not going to read them out here. Even elite athletes aren't immune. An analysis from the Rio 2016 Olympics showed over half of competing athletes had moderate to severe spinal degeneration, yet most were pain-free and performing at the highest level. These studies prove an important point. A scan can find a problem even when no real injury exists. Yet when a doctor reads your results, their job is to refer you to a specialist, often a surgeon. And to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Surgeons often recommend surgery simply because that's what they do, not because it's your best option. One of our long-term UMS members, Pavel Nosozewski, a spine surgeon in Poland with over 20 years experience, said it best. You should always start with structural balance training before even considering surgery. You can watch his interview over on our YouTube channel. Physiotherapy, a better step, but not a full solution. If you didn't rush into surgery, you probably saw a physiotherapist instead. And honestly, that's a much better move. A skilled sports physiotherapist can assess your movement, not just your scan results. That's a huge improvement. But here's the catch. Most physiotherapists rely heavily on declarative knowledge, textbook and theoretical learning. They know about injuries, but they haven't necessarily lived through them. They haven't trained through them. They haven't personally rebuilt strength and resilience through real-world load and pressure. Declarative knowledge can explain the problem, but procedural knowledge can solve it. There's a world of difference between reading about structural balance and personally rebuilding a body broken by injury. And when it comes to overcoming injuries, real-world lived experience matters. And this is why the UMS is so powerful, because I listed off all my injuries at the start of this video. But my brother Yanni has also had the same kind of a list of injuries. We just pushed our bodies so hard in our 20s and our 30s that we suffered it all. Here's Freezy's story. Freezy's a man that I'm working with all the way over in China. And here's how he beat a slap tear without surgery. Surgeons told him that surgery was his only option to fix his slap tear, but surgery was too expensive and months of private physiotherapy weren't affordable either. When Freezy found UMS, he could barely lift his arm above shoulder height without pain. Just like me. He decided to trust the process and rebuild his body properly. Within 4 months, his pain was completely gone. And after another 4 months, Freezy wasn't just recovered, he was stronger than before his injury. He smashed personal bests in bench press, shoulder press, pull-ups, deadlifts, and more. You can go and watch Freezy's story on my YouTube channel. Freezy's transformation isn't an outlier. It's what happens when you stop chasing surface level fixes and rebuild your body from the ground up. He didn't just avoid surgery, he came back stronger than ever. That's the real power of UMS, not just recovery, but rebuilding and exceeding what you thought was possible. Why the UMS is different and why it works. At Unity Gym, we don't just know about injury rehabilitation and structural balance, we've lived it. Between my brother and I, we've personally battled through and overcome almost every major sports injury you can think of. Chronic lower back pain from spondylolisthesis, spondylosis, pars fracture, fractured vertebra and disc bulges, shoulder slap tears, torn rotator cuffs, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, subscapularis, we've torn them all. Meniscus tears and ACL tears, patellofemoral pain syndrome, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow and wrist sprains, FAI hip, anterior pelvic tilt, and neck injuries. These injuries didn't happen inside a gym. Growing up, both my brother and I pushed our bodies beyond their limits through high-impact sports and activities like soccer, martial arts, horse riding, rugby league, acrobatics, military service, breakdancing, boxing, and snowboarding. We didn't live in a bubble. We lived hard, competed fiercely, and took risks and paid the price physically. That real-world history is why we understand injury recovery on a level most trainers simply can't. We haven't just read about injuries, we've fought through them and firsthand rebuilt ourselves and come back stronger. And we overcame it all, not through surgery, not by resting forever, not by giving up on the activities we love. We rebuilt our bodies the right way through structural balance training. And believe me, we tried everything else first. We tried every mainstream method, every training method, every rehab system, every quick fix, every long-term approach, every new revolutionary method we could find. When we say we tried everything, we mean it. And after all the trial and error, after all the frustration and setbacks, the only thing that truly worked was the unified movement system. UMS wasn't just another program. It was the system we created out of necessity because nothing else delivered the full lasting recovery we needed. This is why the UMS exists, to give you the solution we spent years searching for and finally built ourselves. If you've been trapped in the endless cycle, rest, scan, doubt, frustration, temporary improvements, pain returns, losing hope, UMS is the solution you've been looking for. You don't need more rest. You don't need another scan. You don't need another opinion telling you to wait and see. And you most likely don't need surgery. You need a system that fixes the foundation, strengthens your weak links, restores balance where it's lost, unlocks the pain-free, resilient movement you deserve. That's exactly what UMS is designed to do. Why simply doing a few exercises won't fix it, and what will? If you're reading this and dealing with a sports or overuse injury, there's good news. The key to your recovery is right here. Restoring your body's structural balance is the real solution, not random exercises, not temporary patches. This is the hidden secret behind UMS. People often ask, how did you help me fix an injury that plagued me for years when countless doctors, physios, chiros, and personal trainers couldn't? The answer is simple. Structural balance first, technique optimization second, smart program periodization, and progressive overload third. No silver bullet stretches, no magical rehab tricks, no shortcuts. Just a logical, disciplined, systematic approach that rebuilds your body safely, effectively, and permanently. Now, you might be thinking, maybe I can just Google some exercises for my shoulder or knee pain. Please understand that approach will not work. Not because the exercises are wrong, but because they lack the one thing that matters most: proper progression tailored to your body. You won't know whether an exercise matches your current stability, strength, or mobility. You won't know how to safely increase or modify the load. You won't know when it's time to progress or how to transition without risking a setback. And you won't know how to rebuild your entire kinetic chain, not just the painful joint. I'm going to say that really quickly. That's really important. If you're suffering elbow pain, it's not just the muscles that control the elbow that need to be dealt with. It's the entire kinetic chain, because it's likely that you've got weaknesses in your scapular stabilizers that are causing overuse in the elbow joint. And the same can go for any joint in the body. We have to look at the whole kinetic chain, not just the joint where the pain is. And that is such a flawed approach by going onto YouTube and looking at a video that says, do these magic exercises that are going to fix this issue, because it doesn't address the whole system. So if you've struggled with injuries or plateaus, it's not your fault. You were simply given random exercises without a real plan. When you prioritize full body structural balance, optimize your technique, and follow a true progressive plan, everything changes. Pain fades, strength returns, flexibility improves, your body feels strong, athletic, and capable again. The hidden danger of self-diagnosing and piecing it together. And Anuj has just jumped on the live stream and commented he's one of my members who's overcome chronic back pain. So and I'll read your comment in a second, Anuj. I'll just get through everything that I'm saying here. So the hidden danger of self-diagnosing and piecing it all together. Another reason Dr. YouTube is dangerous. You might create an even bigger problem without realizing it. True structural balance isn't just about fixing two muscles around the injured joint. It's about rebuilding your entire kinetic chain. It includes balance between upper and lower body strength and flexibility, left to right joint symmetry, balance between deep stabilizers and prime movers, strength and flexibility integration across the anterior and posterior chains. When you chase isolated fixes online, you neglect everything else, and that neglect creates dangerous new imbalances. It's like tightening one side of a tent while leaving the other side loose. It might look fine at first, but one gust of wind and the entire tent collapses. In your body, that collapse shows up when you least expect it. Tearing a hamstring sprinting for a bus, blowing out a knee playing soccer with your kids, straining your back just bending over to pick something up. When you strengthen one part of your body without strengthening the whole system, you don't fix the problem, you just shift it somewhere else, often making it worse. If you want long-term resilience, pain-free movement, and true athletic longevity, you must rebuild the whole system. This is why UMS works when everything else fails. We don't patch holes, we rebuild the foundation. Dennis's story, healing a slap tear after YouTube failed. Dennis's journey says it all. He came to us after injuring his shoulder with a slap tear. He had tried every magic fix he could find on YouTube. Stretch bands, rehab drills, strength hacks, nothing worked. When he found UMS, he assumed we were just another charlatan, but he decided to give it a try. And within 4 months, Dennis's shoulder pain was completely gone. 12 months later, he's still pain-free and now chasing bigger strength and flexibility goals than ever before. And you can watch Dennis's full interview on our YouTube channel. The results you're seeing aren't expectations. They're the natural outcome of doing things the right way. When you rebuild your body's structural balance, when you fix the real causes, not just chase symptoms, when you follow a system built by people who have lived, struggled, and rebuilt, recovery stops being a gamble. It becomes inevitable. UMS isn't a magic pill. It's a structured, battle-tested system. The clearest path to a body that moves, feels, and performs the way you've always known it could. If you're ready to stop chasing band-aids and start rebuilding something stronger, better, and more capable than ever before, UMS is exactly what you've been searching for. UMS workout format. All right, now we're on to, so we've talked about structural balance, we've talked about injuries, we've talked about how it can rebuild your body. Now let's talk about the UMS workout format, which is optimized for maximum strength and flexibility. So this is what a workout looks like. Every unified movement system UMS workout follows a structured format designed for ultra efficiency and hyper strength and flexibility gains. This approach ensures that every session is balanced, productive, and delivers results without unnecessary fatigue or wasted time. Part 1. The 10-minute warm-up, preparing the body for strength and flexibility. Before lifting a single weight, every UMS workout begins with a structured warm-up to prime the body for peak performance and reduce injury risk. This is not stretching. It's an active preparation phase that includes blood flow, that increases blood flow, mobilizes joints, and activates key muscle groups. The UMS warm-up includes full body joint mobilization, dynamic movements to ensure joints move through their full range, muscle activation drills, targeted exercises that engage, stabilizes, and prime key muscles for heavy lifting, nervous system activation, controlled movements that fire up the neuromuscular system, preparing the body for explosive strength. By the time you start your primary workout, your body is fully prepped for high performance strength and flexibility training. Part 2, the primary workout, strength and flexibility integration. This is the core of every UMS session. It follows a unique structure that combines strength and flexibility training in a way that maximizes efficiency without interfering with strength gains. Strength and flexibility pairing, the UMS formula. Every primary workout follows one of 2 formats: upper body strength and lower body flexibility, or lower body strength and upper body flexibility. Why this works? Traditionally, during strength training, you rest between sets and do nothing while your muscles recover. In UMS, we eliminate wasted time by using that period for active recovery with flexibility training. But you can't stretch the same muscle group you're strength training without reducing its potential for power and increasing injury risk. That's why we train opposing areas of the body together. For example, in an upper body strength workout, between sets of bench press and bent over rows, you train lower body flexibility with hamstrings and hip flexor stretches. How a UMS upper body strength workout is structured. So it's a circuit of 4 exercises alternating between strength and flexibility. For example, exercise 1, bench press, upper body strength for pushing muscles. Exercise 2, hamstring stretch for lower body flexibility. Exercise 3, bent over row, upper body strength for pulling muscles. And exercise 4, a hip flexor stretch for lower body flexibility. So whilst you're recovering between your upper body strength movements, you're doing flexibility for the lower body. And by the time you get back to your bench press, you will have had between 4 and 5 minutes rest on those muscles, allowing you to perform maximal strength. Each round of this circuit takes about 5 minutes. And by the time you return to the bench press, you've had a full 4 minutes rest, allowing you to lift with full power. Why this isn't HIIT training. HIIT is high intensity interval training. Unlike HIIT training, where fatigue builds over time, UMS maintains full strength potential. You never perform heavy lifts in a fatigued state, ensuring you maximize gains without compromising recovery. I'll get to your questions in a minute, Ernie. All right, part three of the UMS workout, the supplementary circuit, building stability and adding volume. Once the primary workout is complete, we reinforce strength gains with a supplementary circuit. What's included in the supplementary circuit? Stabilization training, strengthening the deep stabilizing muscles like the rotator cuff, core, and postural muscles to prevent injuries. Targeted muscle volume, adding more work for the same muscle groups trained in the primary workout, ensuring balanced development. Here's an example circuit for an upper body strength day. A rotator cuff exercise for injury prevention and joint stability, bicep curls and tricep extensions, isolating the arms for additional hypertrophy, chest flies and rear delt flies, enhancing muscle balance between front and back of the body and giving more volume to the chest and back for more hypertrophy. This final phase ensures well-rounded development, reinforcing structural balance and setting you up for continuous progress. Why the UMS format works. No wasted time. Every minute is used efficiently. Balanced development, strength and flexibility improve together. Full recovery between heavy lifts. No unnecessary fatigue. This is what makes UMS different from any other training system. You'll get stronger, move better, and feel better without pain or plateaus. Here's an excerpt from a testimonial from Kwok Nguyen. I trained like a bodybuilder for over a decade, but when I started calisthenics, I realized how inflexible I really was. I didn't have time to add flexibility training to my 5-day split. That's why the UMS workout format was a game changer. Now I built strength and flexibility in the same workout. No extra sessions, no wasted time, just results. All right, now we're on to technique optimization, the key to injury-free strength gains. And this is a huge part of the UMS because I've been told, I've experienced online coaching. I've worked with several online coaches around the world, and I've experienced this is why we do the technique optimization format that we do. And this is a game changer. This is how you get online coaching with us. You might be thinking like, how does online coaching work? How do I know if I'm doing things right? How do I work with you? So lifting heavier weights doesn't always mean getting stronger. Proper technique is what unlocks your full strength potential. Poor form not only increases your risk of injury, but also leads to inefficiencies that stall progress and cause frustrating plateaus. At Unity Gym, technique optimization is a core part of UMS coaching. We don't leave you guessing whether your form is correct. We analyze it for you and provide expert feedback. How online technique coaching works. Step 1, film any exercise you require coaching with. Simply record yourself performing an exercise and upload the video to our coaching app. Step 2, get expert feedback. One of our expert coaches, usually me, will analyze your movement during a screen recording, highlighting what's working well and what needs improvement. This way you can see yourself moving whilst we are coaching you. Step 3, apply the corrections. You'll receive clear, actionable feedback within 24 to 48 hours, unless it's over the weekend, so you can immediately refine your technique in your next session. Why this works so well. Personalized corrections, no generic advice. You get targeted feedback based on your body mechanics. Faster progress. When every rep is executed correctly, strength and flexibility gains come quicker. Injury prevention, correcting technique reduces stress on your joints and eliminates faulty movement patterns that lead to injury. Time efficient coaching. No need to book in-person sessions. Upload your video anytime and get feedback on your schedule. Eliminate guesswork. You'll never need to waste time watching YouTube videos trying to figure out if you're performing an exercise correctly. This one-on-one video coaching system is the most effective way to refine your technique, break through plateaus, and train pain-free no matter where you are in the world. And it's unique to Unity Gym. We have hundreds of members who have done online coaching before, and none of them have seen such a personalized coaching method with such a fast turnaround for review. No general feedback in a Facebook group, no group coaching calls that you need to attend to ask questions, personalized coaching that you can review at your convenience with a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. Testimonial from Pavel, the spine surgeon that I'm talking about that's been with us for years. I've been a spine surgeon for over 20 years. For most of that time, I believed the deadlift was a dangerous exercise. After a year of training with the UMS, my view has completely changed. The deadlift isn't the problem, poor technique is. When you perform with proper form, the deadlift becomes one of the most important exercises for preventing spine surgery. What once seemed unsafe is now essential for building strong, flexible, and resilient body. All right, load management. and progressive overload. Smart training for continuous gains and injury recovery. We're almost there, guys. Well done for getting through this with me. Pain or injury doesn't mean you have to stop training. In fact, stopping altogether is the worst thing you can do. The biggest mistake people make when they experience pain is falling into the all or nothing trap. I get pain when exercising, so I'll rest until the pain goes away. While rest reduces inflammation, it does not address the underlying issue. When you return to training, the problem is still there and now you're weaker, making re-injury even more likely. The solution? Smart load management and progressive overload. These two principles allow you to train effectively while recovering from injury, build strength without setbacks, and keep progressing for life. Load management, training smarter to prevent injury. Load refers to the combination of intensity, how heavy a weight is, and volume, how many reps and sets you perform. Think of your load capacity like a cup, and I have my Rad Dad cup here. Every time you train, you pour water into the cup, and if you pour too much, the cup overflows, leading to pain, inflammation, and injury. How load management prevents injury. If you have an injury, the load capacity of the affected joint is lower than the muscles around it. This means you need to train within what that joint can handle, not overload it with more stress than it can manage. When done correctly, your load capacity increases over time. Eventually, your cup becomes a bucket, capable of handling more without overflowing. The same weight that once caused pain will now feel easy. This is where so many people go wrong, because you've got pain in your shoulder, and let's just say that the load capacity of the shoulder because of the injury is in a chest press is 20 pounds. But your pecs and your shoulders and all your big muscles, you can push 60 pounds. And you pick up the weighting and think, yeah, I can push this, and you do your workout, but the pain gets worse because you exceeded the load capacity of what the injury in the shoulder can handle. So what you have to do in this example is you don't exceed 20 pounds in your pressing. So you're doing your workout and you feel like, this is ridiculous. I'm doing so much less weight than what I can handle. But through adaptation, what will happen very quickly is that the load capacity of the injury will increase, and eventually it will catch up to what your prime movers can do. And this is where so many people go wrong. They go to the gym, they exceed their load capacity, and then they think that they need to rest to make it better. It does not work. And now we move to progressive overload, the secret to long-term strength and flexibility gains. Once we've managed load correctly, we applied progressive overload, the key to getting stronger without hitting plateaus. Progressive overload works by making small, gradual increases in load over time. So imagine you can curl 20 pounds for 8 reps today. Next week, you aim for 9 reps with the same weight. A few weeks later, you hit 12 reps. Now you increase the weight to 22.5 pounds, drop back to 8 reps, and repeat the process. These small, consistent increases add up over time. Your strength skyrockets and your body adapts, and your load capacity expands exponentially. The power of combining load management and progressive overload. Recover while training. You can work around injuries instead of stopping training altogether. You expand your load capacity so you can turn your cup into a bucket, allowing your body to handle heavier loads safely. You break through plateaus so that you never stall in your progress. Every workout builds on the last. And you train smarter, not harder. No more guesswork. Your program is designed to push you forward without setbacks. By applying load management to avoid setbacks and progressive overload to build strength systematically, you'll recover from injuries, keep making gains, and train pain-free for life. From injury to strength, Ali's shoulder comeback. Ali came to us with a torn rotator cuff from badminton. He couldn't lift his arm above shoulder height without pain. Just 5 months later, he was doing behind the head shoulder presses and pull-ups pain-free and stronger than ever. His transformation came from learning how to manage load properly and follow our periodized programming step by step. And you can watch Ali's story on our YouTube channel. Program periodization, the science of never hitting a plateau. Your body is an adaptive machine. When exposed to the right stimulus, it responds by getting stronger, more flexible, and more capable. But if that stimulus stays the same for too long, the body stops adapting and progress stalls. This is why most training programs stop working after a few weeks. You're doing the same exercises with the same weights for the same reps, at the same pace. Your body has already adapted, so it has no reason to keep changing. At Unity Gym, every UMS program is built on the principle of periodization, a proven system used by elite athletes and performance coaches to ensure constant progress without burnout or injury. Why periodization matters. A well-designed program gives your body exactly the right challenge. Not too easy or you won't adapt, not too hard or you risk injury, just right and you grow stronger, more mobile and more resilient. We apply periodization in 4-week training blocks. Around week 4 to 6, the body begins to plateau. That's when we adjust the stimulus subtly or significantly by modifying one or more of 5 key training variables. The 5 variables of program periodization. Intensity, how heavy you lift. Intensity refers to the load relative to your 1 rep max, 1 RM. Higher intensity, heavier weights, fewer reps, targets neural strength and max output. Lower intensity, lighter weights, more reps, targets muscular endurance and tissue conditioning. We cycle intensity strategically to target different strength qualities, allowing your body to recover and continue improving. Number 2, volume, total work done. Volume is the product of sets times reps times weight lifted. High volume builds muscle mass, hypertrophy. Low volume with high intensity builds raw strength. We increase or reduce volume across phases to avoid overtraining and to stimulate different adaptations, like size versus strength versus endurance. Tempo, control over each rep. Tempo refers to the speed of movement during each repetition. For example, 3-1-1-0, a 3-second lowering eccentric phase, 1 second pause, so that would look like this. 3-second lowering, 3 seconds down, 1 second pause, 1 second concentric, and a 0-second pause at the top. So 3-1-1-0. But the tempo changes from program phase to program phase. And by altering tempo changes, which is the time under tension, we build strength, control, and flexibility. Slowing down reps also improves technique and creates deeper muscular engagement, especially during isometric pauses or slow eccentrics. All right, number 4, the 4th variable of program periodization is rest, recovery between sets. Rest duration influences how your body recovers between sets. Short rest, 30 to 60 seconds, keeps the heart rate high and stresses muscular endurance. Long rest, 2 to 7 minutes, allows for full recovery and supports maximal strength output. We cycle rest strategically to either challenge your conditioning or maximize performance based on your training goal and current phase. And number 5, the last variable of program periodization is exercise selection, introducing novel stimuli. The body adapts to movement patterns quickly by rotating exercises while maintaining the same functional movement category, e.g. vertical pull, horizontal push, hinge, squat. We provide novel stress that drives adaptation. Examples, swapping deadlifts for Romanian deadlifts to emphasize hamstring and glute control. Replace flat bench press with ring push-ups to develop stabilizer engagement. Progress from bodyweight split squats to barbell Bulgarian split squats for more loading. These changes challenge your body in new planes of motion, enhance muscular coordination, and help eliminate weak links. How periodization fits into the UMS. UMS uses a structured progression of 4-week phases that stack together to drive long-term gains. The general preparation is 3 program phases, 12 weeks, to correct imbalances, restore symmetry, and prepare the body for performance. The progression phase, 9 program phases, 36 weeks, to apply overload strategically to develop peak strength and flexibility and conditioning. Each phase builds on the last, and as your load capacity increases, see load management, the training stimulus is dialed up just enough to trigger the next wave of adaptation without tipping into fatigue or breakdown. The result? You never hit a plateau. You never get bored. You train pain-free while continuing to improve. You progress with confidence, knowing your plan is backed by science and shaped by elite coaching. This is what makes the Unified Movement System different. It's not just a workout, it's a long-term performance plan. Here's another testimonial from Kwok, from bodybuilding to body control. After over a decade of bodybuilding, Kwok came to us strong but stiff. He wanted to learn calisthenic skills like handstands and muscle-ups, but didn't know how to train for them. Within 6 months of joining the UMS, his flexibility skyrocketed and his body control transformed. All right. Now we're on to step 3, the final part of this presentation, and this is the shortest part, so stick with me. This is the progression phase for advanced strength and flexibility and flexibility without guesswork. Trying to get strong without building a foundation is like upgrading your engine to boost horsepower without touching the brakes or suspension. You might launch faster, but without the control to handle it, you'll skid out on the first corner. Power without balance leads to burnout, injury, or worse, a hard stop on your progress. That's the mistake most fitness programs make. They push you into advanced workouts before your body is prepared. And the result? Injuries, plateaus, and frustration. The Unified Movement System, UMS, takes a smarter path. Our progression phase, phases 4 to 12, builds on the solid base developed in the general preparation phase, phases 1 to 3. This structure ensures your body can handle more power safely and efficiently. With UMS, you're not chasing quick fixes or copying elite athletes. You're following a proven path that helps you surpass your younger self, move pain-free, and keep progressing for life. Why the progression phase works. Jumping into intense workouts without preparation is like building a skyscraper on sand. It'll collapse under pressure. The general preparation phase, 12 weeks, 3 phases, ensures your body is balanced and your technique is flawless and your joints are ready for more. Only then do we introduce the progression phase, where advanced programming takes your performance to new heights. We use undulating periodization, a proven method trusted by elite strength coaches. It cycles between 2 goals. Intensification phases focus on maximum strength with heavier weights and lower reps. Accumulation phases build lean muscle with lighter weights, higher reps, and more total volume. It's like constructing your skyscraper. Sometimes you're laying bricks, adding muscle, and other times you're reinforcing the structure, building strength. Both are essential, and alternating between the two keeps your body steady, keeps your progress steady, prevents burnout, and helps you break through plateaus. We also introduce advanced overload methods to challenge your muscles and nervous system strategically. Think of it like upgrading a car engine. Each method, supersets, wave loading, drop sets, modifies a different aspect of your performance, from raw strength to muscle growth and to explosive power. These are applied carefully, not randomly, to maximize gains while keeping you injury-free. Why? Because in the early stages, basic programming delivers strength gains easily. Using advanced methods too soon is like playing your ace card too early in a game. You'll regret it later when you need that extra edge. The 12 phases of UMS, your roadmap to mastery. UMS is a 48-week journey split into 2 stages: general preparation, phases 1 to 3, and progression, phases 4 to 12. Each 4-week phase builds on the last, like adding layers to a fortress. Below is a detailed look at the 12 phases, explaining their goals, methods, and why they work. Phase 1, general preparation, build your foundation. The goal is to master technique and correct imbalances. What you do: you use unilateral exercises like dumbbell chest press to balance left and right sides, focus on strict form, controlled tempo, and proper breathing. Why it matters: it's like aligning a car's wheels before a long drive. It ensures smooth, safe progress. This phase rewires how you train, prioritizing quality over ego-driven numbers. Phase 2, general preparation, balance your physique. The goal is to deepen technique and enhance flexibility. What you do: progress to slightly more challenging exercise variations while maintaining strict control. Flexibility training intensifies to improve joint mobility. Why it matters: like practicing scales before a symphony, this phase sharpens your movement quality, preparing you for heavier loads without overloading joints. Phase 3, general preparation to solidify your base. The goal is to finalize structural balance and prep for intensity. What you do: you continue unilateral exercises, perfecting technique. Flexibility work advances, but you stick to what your body can handle to avoid rushing. Why it matters: this is the final tune-up before the engine revs up. It locks in habits to prevent injury when intensity ramps up in the next phase. As we dive into the progression phase, phases 4 to 12 of the UMS, you'll notice we introduce more advanced training concepts and terminology which might feel unfamiliar at first. Don't let that intimidate you. Inside the UMS, we break everything down into clear, actionable steps that make sense, no matter your experience level. Our personalized online coaching ensures you're never guessing. Any questions you have, we're here to answer. So I'm about to go through what all of the phase 4 to 12 phases are. And this does use higher level terminology. So if some of this confuses you, don't worry, you'll get all your questions answered inside the UMS. Phase 4, the first intensification phase, alternating sets method. Phase 4 marks your introduction to intensification training in the UMS. The focus here is threefold. Apply correct technique developed in earlier phases, learn how to manage training load for maximal strength development, introduce bilateral barbell lifts like the back squat and bench press. This is the first of many intensification phases. You'll see the rep range drop to 5 reps per set. As reps go down, weight goes up. This is known as increasing training intensity. During intensification phases, the goal shifts to developing the nervous system. You'll either lift the same weight for all strength sets or you'll increase the weight across sets. The final set should match or exceed the load of all previous sets. This is when the greatest neural adaptations occur. To understand why this is important, consider the 6 neurological adaptations that drive strength. 6 things that increase your strength. Number 1, recruitment, activating more motor units. Number 2, firing rate, increasing how quickly motor units fire. Number 3, intramuscular coordination, synchronizing motor units within one muscle. Number 4, intermuscular coordination, improving synergy between multiple muscles. Number 5, antagonistic inhibition, reducing resistance from opposing muscles. And number 6, motor learning, hardwiring movement patterns into the nervous system. All of these depend on precise, consistent technique. That's why you must never compromise form just to lift heavier weights. Every rep counts, every lift must be technically sound. That's how real strength is built. Now we move on to phase 5, accumulation training. Post-exhaustion supersets method. Phase 5 introduces your first overload method, post-exhaustion supersets. By this point in the program, you've learned the foundational barbell and dumbbell lifts, including bench press, flat incline and dumbbell, squat variations, high bar, front, split and step-ups, deadlift, pull-up and row variations, overhead press variations, external rotations, and trap 3 raises. These compound movements lay the groundwork for strength coordination and flexibility. From here on out, you'll revisit these movements regularly, refining your execution and building mastery. Overload techniques enhance this process by increasing time under tension, boosting muscular recruitment, using post-activation potentiation to enhance strength output. This phase introduces accumulation, where volume and fatigue drive muscle hypertrophy. Intensification phases that follow will build strength on top of the muscle mass gained here. Your goals for phase 5: master the hypertrophy-focused post-exhaustion supersets method, maximize muscle building over 4 weeks, refine technique in all foundational lifts. If you're hesitant about building muscle, especially if you're worried about getting too bulky, it's important to understand that hypertrophy takes more than exercise. Muscle growth also requires specific nutrition and high recovery quality. Muscle boosts metabolism and accelerates fat burning. It also lays the foundation for advanced strength skills. Whether your goal is to move better, feel better, or perform better, lean muscle is a non-negotiable part of the process. Phase 6, intensification, agonist-antagonist wave loading method. Phase 6 is an intensification phase featuring your first post-activation potentiation overload method, agonist-antagonist wave loading. Key objectives: learn and apply the wave loading protocol, improve intramuscular and intermuscular coordination, refine technical proficiency in primary lifts. You'll work in 2 waves per agonist-antagonist pair. Wave 1, set of 5 reps, then 3 reps, then 2 reps at 6 RM, 4 RM, and 3 RM respectively, with 1 rep left in the tank. Wave 2, sets of 5, 3, and 2 reps at true 5 RM, 3 RM, and 2 RM to technical failure. So that means that wave 1, you leave 1 rep in the tank. Wave 2, you go to technical failure. You alternate between agonist and antagonistic exercises, taking 2 minutes rest between each set. The second wave should use slightly heavier loads than the first. This is a maximum effort method. No, not training to failure, but lifting heavy enough to recruit maximum motor units with optimal firing frequency. By not pushing to absolute failure, you reduce central nervous system fatigue, allowing better performance across your sets. This optimizes both intramuscular coordination within one muscle and intermuscular coordination between multiple muscles. Lift with focus, lift heavy, maintain technique. That's the path to significant strength gains. Phase 7, accumulation, the rest-pause method. Phase 7 is an accumulation phase using rest pause overload method. Core objectives: extend muscular time under tension, drive muscular exhaustion and recruitment, prepare the body for future maximal strength phases. Here's how it works. Perform 4 to 6 reps at your 4 to 6 RM. Rest 10 seconds. Continue lifting to technical failure with the same weight. Repeat until 8 to 10 reps are completed. Alternate between agonist and antagonistic movements with full recovery between sets. This method demands high effort. It's a repeat effort method designed to tax your muscular endurance and neuromuscular resilience. Due to the intensity, recovery becomes mission critical. You'll need sleep of 9 to 10 hours after workouts when possible. You need to prioritize nutrient-dense meals, and you need to monitor fatigue closely. Progress in this phase is as much about your discipline outside the gym as your effort inside it. Phase 8, intensification. Post-activation potentiation 1-5 method. This phase uses 1-5 post-activation potentiation method, combining heavy singles with submaximal 5-rep sets. Objectives: prime the nervous system for greater force production, train both maximal and submaximal lifting within one session, refine motor pattern precision under heavy loads. Structure: perform 1 rep near 1 RM. Rest, then reduce weight to roughly 85 to 87% for a 5-rep set. Increase the load and repeat the 1-5 pattern for a total of 3 rounds. This allows safe exploration of maximal strength without the risk of true 1 RM testing. The heavy single activates the nervous system, increasing the effectiveness of the lighter set that follows. The 1-5 method is a powerful way to build strength while reinforcing your lifting technique under fatigue and load. Phase 9, accumulation, contrast rep drop set method. Phase 9 returns to hypertrophy training using the contrast rep drop set method. Your goals: to build lean muscle, maximize muscle fatigue, and continue developing resilience in the foundational lifts. Here's how to perform the drop set protocol. Perform 8 to 10 reps, rest for 10 seconds, drop the weight. Perform 8 to 10 reps, rest for 10 seconds, drop the weight a third, and repeat a third time. Then recover and stretch. Alternate between agonist and antagonist exercises, which means you do 3 drop sets on your pushing movement, you rest, then you do 3 drop sets on your pulling movement, you rest, and then go again. That's what I mean by saying rest and perform on the agonist or antagonist movement. Expect diminishing weight across the 3 sets. If not, you're not pushing hard enough. This is another repeat effort method that targets neuromuscular failure. It's intense and demanding. To succeed, respect the 10-second rest window. Choose weights that challenge you without sacrificing form. Embrace fatigue. It's a feature, not a bug. Support your efforts with consistent sleep and quality nutrition. Phase 10, intensification, strength drop set method. Phase 10 mirrors the structure of Phase 9 but pivots back to maximal strength using strength drop set method. Key outcomes: increase force production, improve motor control, lay the groundwork for higher performance. Protocol: perform 4 to 6 reps at a heavy load, rest 10 seconds, reduce the weight, repeat for 2 additional sets of 4 to 6 reps, then recover fully and repeat. Unlike the hypertrophy drop set, this method avoids failure. The goal is to move heavy weights with full control and clean technique. Because you avoid hitting neuromuscular failure, you can better maintain nervous system efficiency and motor unit activation. This method builds strength fast without frying your system. Phase 11, accumulation, ascending tri-set method. Phase 11 introduces ascending tri-sets, a brutal but effective hypertrophy method. Objectives: build muscle endurance, push time under tension to new heights, strengthen joint and connective tissue resilience. Structure: perform 3 exercises back to back with 10 seconds rest between each. Reps increase per movement. So 8 reps in the first movement, 10 for the second, and 12 for the third. Rest, stretch, then repeat the full tri-set 4 times. Alternate between agonist and antagonistic tri-sets. This format ensures muscle exhaustion and maximal recruitment. Expect your strength to drop with each round. That's normal and necessary. It's critical to pick weights that match your rep goals. Avoid rushing rest periods. Prioritize recovery, sleep, nutrition, and hydration. This phase humbles even seasoned lifters. It builds serious strength and work capacity, and it is brutal. Phase 12, intensification, contrast sets method. Phase 12 introduces an advanced overload method, contrast sets, using eccentric dominant reps. Goals: enhance eccentric strength, the lowering phase, improve neuromuscular efficiency, prepare the body for elite level strength training, Protocol: perform 3 reps at 3 RM. Rest 1 to 3 minutes, then add 10 to 20% more weight. Perform 2 reps with an 8-second eccentric lowering phase. Rest 3 minutes and repeat for 3 to 4 total rounds. This method avoids training to failure but uses maximal loads and long eccentric phases to push your nervous system and connective tissue to adapt. Contrast sets builds incredible strength control and injury resilience. Like all intensification phases, technique is king. Precision under load is what separates elite level strength from injury-prone progress. That's it. Thousands of people around the world have overcome injury when physiotherapy, doctors, and surgery failed them, achieved levels of strength and flexibility they thought were unattainable, removed the frustration of training hard but not seeing results, and become stronger and more flexible in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s than they were in their 20s. Now it's your turn. Join and revolutionize your training today. Well done, guys. You got through it all. And for those of you that wanted to know what a 12-month journey in the UMS is like, now you know. So Anush has said, good afternoon. I think structural balance training is one of those things that a medical academic system doesn't quite have aligned incentives to make mainstream. Imagine a medicine that was low cost, available everywhere, required no specialized training intervention, but took lots of work and consistency to implement. Exactly. Ernie's saying, do you support drinking pre-workout powders for energy, high caffeine intake? I don't support pre-workout powders, no, because the active ingredient in all of them is caffeine. I do support having caffeine before a workout, though. I do that in the morning. Ernie's also said, I heard that HGH is released in the body when one stimulates the fight or flight response by tiring the muscles in a fast burst of energy until the muscle is drained. Through deep sleep and never eat sugar before. But look, I'm not an endocrinologist or a hormone expert, and I'm not a bodybuilder either. So I have built a decent amount of muscle in the last couple of years. I put on about 16 or 17 pounds, aka about 7 or 8 kilograms, and that's from age 44 to 46. So, I know how to build muscle, but I'm not an expert in it. So I don't go deep into that stuff, man. Hope you guys got something out of it. I've got to go and spend time with my family. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. And if you haven't yet, go over to unitygym.com, join the UMS. You'll be working with me and my team directly, and you will achieve an incredible result. I guarantee it.